Retry. Oh, hang on. I think we might have it. We might be in business. Testing one. Testing one. Uh, let's try. Ah, it worked. Okay. Hey, look at that. Okay. Too loud. Finally figured it out. Okay. Okay. Let's see what we got. I'm sure I will have lots of chats telling me what I'm doing wrong. Okay. Um, resize this. Okay. I suppose I should share this and see what people think. Hmm. Yeah, it is a little bit later. I'm getting used to that. It must be difficult. Hey, Catherine, can you try chatting and see if something comes up in a live chat? Catherine, did you hear me? Can you try a live chat or a comment or whatever? I'll check. Jeez. see how this goes. I see your chair. It's Catherine. Okay. There's two. Oh, well, that's Catherine and me. All right. So let's see what's going on. I apologize for the background noise. In the room, I am in the laundry room slash office. All right. We're looking here at the Tulsa radar, and so far the most impressive storm has been this one out by I-35. I'm going to. Uh-oh, four viewers. People must be watching from Facebook. Okay, so say hi in the excuse me in the live chat. Excuse me. This is highly experimental and boomerific because I am completely new to this. All right, we're going to take a look here at the storms out west. Just to orient us, this is from the Tulsa radar. Tulsa's right here. Barnstall is right here. And the cells out to our west have been putting on quite a show. This cell here, if we run it back a little bit, has been uh, putting down some confirmed tornadoes and showing quite a bit of strong rotation. It's at a spot here where we're just about between equidistant between the Wichita radar and the Tulsa radar at this point. This was about an hour ago, a little over an hour ago. But this is where it put down a confirmed tornado right here. And you can see the strong rotation. Ooh, up to 9 viewers. My goodness. Boy, this gives people an ego. Um, you can see right now it is showing some rotation. It does not look like there's a confirmed tornado on it at this moment. Um, Still very, very strong rotation on it. You can see just as a sort of a primer. You all are most of you are Oklahomans, so you know what Doppler radar does and how it works. Um, and it looks like I'm lagging a pretty good bit from live, but so be it. Anyway, you can see the Doppler. This is the base reflectivity image that shows how heavy the precipitation is. You know, the darker the red colors and purples, that's the heavier precipitation. In the Doppler, what it does, it detects motion away from and towards the radar. So when the radar sends out its signal, it bounces back off of particles, raindrops, I mean, in worst case scenario, pieces of debris or what have you. And when the signal bounces back off of those particles, whether it's rain or hail or what have you, it shifts the signal when the particle is moving towards or away from the radar. That's called the Doppler shift. That's the same concept as when you're standing at a railroad crossing and the train goes by, the pitch of the siren or the horn changes as it approaches, then passes you. So that's Doppler shift. In this case, the signal from the radar bounces off particles in the storm, and if the particles are moving away from the radar, it adds a negative Doppler shift. And if they're moving towards the radar, it adds a positive Doppler shift. And in that case, that is interpreted by the radar as a cool or a hot color, meaning particles moving away from the radar, and a cool color, meaning particles are moving towards the radar. Now, in this case, out by Newkirk, we're still a long ways from the Tulsa radar. Here's the Tulsa radar way down here. It might be better to look at the Wichita radar for a moment. In any case, so as we see here on this cell, you have strong movement away from the radar right here, and strong movement towards the radar right here. And when you see those two next to each other, that usually means rotation right here. So you've got strong away right next to strong inbounds, which means boom, boom, boom. This is where the part of the storm that is rotating. And that is verified by this other part that I look at, and the lower right here, which is called the normalized rotation. It's essentially a mathematical uh, calculation of how the movement of the pixels are right next to each other. And so the more differential motion between pixels on the radar or bits of the signal, the darker this splotch will be, or the brighter this splotch will be actually. So when this gets, light blue, then to green, and then yellow and orange and red, that's when you know you've got very, very strong signal. And then this signal here is called the correlation coefficient, and it essentially measures the symmetry of the particles in the storm. So in general, raindrops, hail, and so on and so forth are symmetrical, circular. And so the radar itself, I can go into the whole mathematics of it, but you would probably rather I not do that. It's rather tedious and involved. But it measures the symmetry up and down and right and left. And generally, if the correlation coefficient is high, that means generally these are nothing except precipitation particles, rain, hail, etc. When that correlation coefficient starts dropping and you start seeing a dark spot on this pane here, this window, that's where you can see that some items without symmetry are being detected in the air. So that would be things like, in some cases, they can use it to detect insects. But in the case of a severe storm, this is where you may have heard the term the debris ball or uh, debris signature or tornado debris signature, um, where you'll get the, sorry to say, parts of houses, trees, parts of cars, roofing material, lumber gets lofted up into the sky, and the radar can detect that. And that's a way that the Weather Service can use radar to detect whether the tornado is on the ground. Okay, so that's just a very, very quick primer. I don't want to get too technical on you. Anyway, what you all want to know is what's going to happen in Barnstall. And as of right now, we're still a good ways off from anything really happening. Posca's here. These cells are starting to move a little more east and southeast, and that's uh, good in terms of these cells becoming a little more linear, and that means that the chances of tornadoes are a little less than they would be. And I just got notification that there's a big tornado out by Vance Air Force Base. So let's tell you what, let's switch over to the Vance Air Force Base radar, and you can see very clearly what I'm talking about. Okay, yeah, here we go. You see the hook echo, and the reflectivity was very close to Enid. Um, one moment. Okay, and you can really see the Doppler velocity couplet right here. So you see very close together. Strong motion. Well, the radar's up here, so strong motion towards the radar right here. Strong motion away from the radar right here. That's a tornado, clear as day. You see it here in the normalized rotation, and you also see it right here. This splotch of decreased correlation coefficient. So the dark reds means everything's symmetrical. Any cooler colors means asymmetrical particles, damage, debris, and so on and so forth. You can see it's really ramping up. Confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado was located near Vance Air Force Base, moving east at 25 miles an hour. And yeah, I've seen that some people are streaming it. I can't obviously stream another company or Channel 9 or Channel 6 or whatever, but I'm sure there's somebody streaming it. This is a major tornado going on out here. I am going to keep an eye on this one. I want to take a quick look at Wichita. Okay, Wichita radar is not showing any tornadoes at the moment, no tornado warnings, but they have very severe storms. I have family up in El Dorado, Kansas, just north and east of Wichita. Hope they're doing well. Um, and looks like we've got a few visitors joining us here. I'd love to have you drop a comment in the live chat if you want. Let me know who's watching. I know there's probably mostly folks from Barnstall. That's the only place I have advertised that I'm live streaming yet. Um, and I'm sure I'm not the most riveting host, but that's how it goes. All right, let's pop that back down. Okay. These tornado warnings up here in northern Osage County, coming into Osage County, by Newkirk, Kildare, Caw City. This is for this broad rotation. Uh, and you can see they have warnings out, but these are not confirmed tornadoes at this time. The storm mode is getting a little messy. They're starting to get interference from these cells back off to the south and west. So that's good news for northern parts of Osage County. The peak of the tornado risk. Um, oh, okay, there we go. The Seabolts from Barnstall are watching. Well, that's good. Good to hear. Good to see you. Um, I don't know how often I'll do this, or whether I'll do this to replace the Facebook comments or posts. I may do that. It probably easier to reach more people. Um, Jen, thanks for streaming. Worried about the stuff in Eden reaching us. Um, Possibly, but the way this stuff is, oh, I believe I see they've upgraded to a tornado emergency. This is really not good. Um, Tornadoes moving very slowly, 20 miles an hour. That's quite slow. And you can see dramatic uh, debris signature here. very, very tight couplet on the Doppler. I mean, this at this point we don't really need the radar. The Doppler part of the radar, we can see pretty remarkable debris signature here. Some call it the debris ball. Um, it's basically just like it says. Um, it just it's a ball of all the debris being picked up by the tornado, and this is not looking good for Vance Air Force Base. And Enid did just get a message a little bit ago from Sarah Alber that she is watching a live stream of it, and there's obviously some chasers who have some pretty remarkable video. I'll have to check that out later. Um, I do want to reach out. Garber, that rings a bell. Oh yes, Miss Silva, Mrs. Silva, the teacher who was a kindergartner teacher for quite a while in Barnstall, for a while in Barnstall. She lives in Garber now. I'm gonna toss her a message quick. Hang on one moment. Okay. Um, question: Are we safe for Barnstall? For the moment, yes. Um, we are safe for the moment. What I was gonna say before I got caught up here in this Enid storm. Um, the way the storms are moving, let me move it back a little bit. You can see how this cell is moving slowly east, but it's starting to form from a unique single cell into a big line. And ultimately, what's going on there is the storms are becoming what is called linear, and you can see that's already happening up here in Kansas, where the cold front is crashing in on everything. And just like the other night, um, when that happens, the 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 tornado chances go down. Um, and so the bad tornadoes like we had on May 6th, a couple years ago, that was a supercell tornado and born out of a cell that was all by itself. And then, if you'll also recall, the small tornado we had um, on April 1st of 2024, that was born out of the front side of a squall line. And then those are what are called QLCS tornadoes, or quasi-linear convective systems. And those are tornadoes that are generally weaker, and generally pop up really quick and dissipate really quick. So the longer the the line of storms is formed, when the storms are coming towards us and they're in a line, generally the tornado probability goes down. And this is kind of what happened um, the other day, where there were some tornado warnings off to our west, Ponca City, Caw City. But eventually, the cold front had caught up, and it turned into a big line. We did get some wind, but there was not very much tornado risk. Now, today, what we're seeing is all of the all of the conditions for tornadoes have been maximized out here over central, north central Oklahoma. So I-35 corridor. And as the night goes on, those are going to start to drop down a little bit as the cold front catches up with these cells and sort of undercuts them. There, these cells, like the cell out at Enid right now, it has the atmosphere all to itself, and it can really crank up and use the atmosphere, all the dynamics, all the instability, it kind of creates its own uh, microclimate, so to speak, without getting too technical. Um, so once other storms start to interfere with that, that's where a big, strong tornadic supercell loses some of its power. And the same thing happened in Barnstall in on May 6th. You may recall after tragically passed through Barnstall, and that line of storms that had been in western Osage County caught up to it just about the time it was going to crash into to Bartlesville, and that's where though it did do some damage in Bartlesville, it wasn't nearly as bad as it could have been because of the interaction from that from that large cell, or so that large line that sort of interrupted the supercell. So, and I apologize in advance. I do get a tad long-winded, as anybody who's met me knows. Um, so in terms of Barnstall at the moment, I am not overly worried. Um, Obviously, things can change, um, but we'll be keeping an eye and watching as things progress. Let's pop back over to, well, let me pop to the Wichita cell here. Okay. All right. This is the Wichita radar, and what we're looking at is the storm here over Newkirk, Cross City, towards Scheidler, moving in towards Scheidler. Now, you can see there is quite a bit of rotation still here, north of Cross City. Yeah, this is looking a little wonky. Yeah, it's right about here. And again, the mode of the storm is not looking nearly as discrete. It's messy. It's getting cut off from its main instability and energy supply by these other storms. However, that said, these are not storms to be taken lightly. And based on the movement, yeah, the storms are basically moving about due east right now. So anything that would impact Barnstall is still well off over here. And at the moment, with the storms moving east, anything that we would need to worry about specifically is down here. And you can see there's nothing overly dramatic right now. Over time, we expect the excuse me, the cold front to bash in, and that would start the storms moving a little more southeasterly. Okay. How's my volume, by the way? Could somebody put in the chat how my audio volume is? And because again, I am painfully new at this, and it took me a while to figure out how to get my microphone working, and thankfully I was able to you know enlist the help of my older daughter. Yeah, volume is perfect. Good to hear. Okay. Okay, let's see here. And if anybody has questions or anything, please put them in the chat. I'm keeping an eye on that from through my phone, and hopefully can keep an eye for questions. And if you want to, please share around uh, the live stream. I did put it in the Barnstall community or citizens information, um, but we'll see if people prefer this to the uh, posts every once in a while with updates. Obviously, right now there's nothing major um, imminent for Barnstall. I do want to keep an eye for uh, Julie Silva out here in Garber, east of Enid. Um, Keeping in mind, this is still on the ground. It's looking like still under tornado emergency. This latest update was about just about 15 minutes ago. So we were going to keep an eye on this. Um, yeah, here's your debris signature. Still a very tight velocity couplet here. Again, green in this case towards the radar. The radar's to the northwest. Green towards, red away. That's your tight rotation, your tornado signature right there. And that storm track, unfortunately, if it hangs together and keeps going, takes it right to Garber. So we hope that doesn't happen. Um, we'll have to see how it progresses. Again, it's not moving very quickly. This is more than 25, 30 minutes out. But if you have family or friends out here uh, and they're not weather aware, again, it's Oklahoma. A lot of people are probably already watching it live on Channel 9 or Channel 6 or 4 or whoever. I have not been keeping an eye on the Oklahoma TV stations. I've been trying to figure out how to make my own TV station here. News 9, I'll bet they're going. And again, I'm sorry about the weird sounds. Sorry, dead air. Lots of dead air. We are watching Channel 6 and listening and watching you. Oh, very nice. Thank you. Um, let's see here. Oh yeah, yeah, there's still that tornado on the ground. That is crazy. That's nuts. That's unfortunate. Okay. Okay. Um, we will see. Oh, whoa. Just catching some glimpses of that storm out by Enid. Okay. It's too easy to get distracted by all the other storms. Oh, pardon me. Oh, give everybody vertigo. Let's pop back over here to the Tulsa radar. And again, I'm sure this storm is going to be putting on quite a show. There's still quite a ways to go until anything comes in on Barnstall. And I can see that probably about 30 seconds behind right now. The stream is about 30 seconds behind live. We'll have to fiddle around and see what we can do to improve that. But in terms of Barnstall, we're still quite a ways from anything dramatic being in on us. Let me take a quick look at a high resolution model, see if it see how they think it's gonna develop and progress. It was looking earlier like the tornado risk is really going to go down and it's going to become a lot more linear before it slashes into the southern part of central part of Osage County. So that's good news from a tornado standpoint, but not great news from a wind damage standpoint. Popping back down here, it looks like this storm out by Enid is not quite as organized now. It's passing Enid. It may still be a tornado on the ground. This warning only has a few more minutes to go, and we'll see how things uh, whether they reissue a warning, um, or whether it's recycling and redeveloping somewhere else. Yeah, maybe down here in the southern quadrant, southwesterly quadrant, maybe trying to regenerate. Now, supercells will go through what's called cycling, where they, excuse me, where they produce a tornado. That tornado occludes or rotates back into the storm, and then the parent rotation higher in the clouds will generate a new mesocyclone, and then sometimes a new tornado. That may be what's trying to happen a little bit down here. We'll have to keep an eye south of the current warning. The rotation from the initial warning from the tornado, you can see here where it crossed the highway. Yeah, this is about 25 minutes ago, 25 minutes ago, and this is where the tornado emergency was declared. Now, a tornado emergency is uh, is declared when there is a confirmed large tornado that is imminently going to be going into a heavily populated area. So you could have the strongest tornado on record, like the one that hit El Reno back in 2013. It was never, I don't think it was ever given uh, a tornado emergency warning because it never really was bound to impact any heavily populated areas. It's a function of confirmed tornado plus population density. Um, and the tornado that hit Barnstall in 2024 received a tornado emergency upgrade not long after it struck Barnstall because it was then heading for Bartlesville, which has, of course, a much higher population. Boy, I thought there was just going to be dead air. Now, see, this is this is a good outlet because I'll use up all my words here, and my poor family won't have to listen to my all my geekiness. I'll take it out on all you poor folks. Just kidding. Um, so yeah, this storm is not looking quite as organized. You can see it's really a little more ragged. Okay, okay, confirmed tornado still. Confirmed tornado located 4 miles southeast of Enid, moving east at 15. So it's slowed down even more now. Okay, yeah, this is still a confirmed tornado. Yeah, and you can see the hook here. Yeah, unfortunately, this is still moving towards Garber, but again, very very slowly. And we'll see how the storm develops over time. Um, yeah, we've got a pretty good debris signature still. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Starting to ramp up again. You can see the velocity couplet here. I'm gonna pop back out here for a second, check on Wichita, make sure I'm not missing anything. Or sorry, the Tulsa radar, making sure I'm not missing out anything that's popping up. Uh, Amanda low, it looks like. Says, I have PTSD because of the storm from 2024. I don't think you're the only one. I think there's a lot of people who have uh, PTSD from that. I wasn't even in Barnstall when it hit. I was at my place down um, close to Skytook watching it, and of course it's terrible. And yeah, it's still jarring. It's still striking every time I drive into town. I cannot imagine what it was like and what it is like for the folks in Barnstall. It's terrible, and I don't think it goes away. It may get a little better from time to time, but I don't think it goes away. Okay, so let's looking in here in Osage County. Uh, Scheidler. I'm gonna switch to Wichita. It's still a little bit closer. Yeah, this is the problem when those storms get, you know, pretty much in between two different radars. It'll be about the same distance from Wichita as it is from Tulsa, so the the resolution of the radar gets a little less reliable. Plus, you're looking up in the upper parts of the storm rather than down closer to the ground. Um, uh, no, Barnsdall's not under a tornado warning yet. Osage County has a tornado warning for the western port portion out here by Scheidler, 4 Acre, and north of Burbank. Um, and that's part of. I remember the old system was if your county was in the warning, every town in that county would blow their sirens. And you can imagine with a county as big as Osage, um, that it, that'd be crazy because it's such a large county that something out by Burbank may have zero chance of hitting Hominy or Cleveland, but tornado warning for Osage County, that's a big area. So anymore now, um, anymore these days, these polygons, as they call, or the warning polygons, they dictate what towns are under the most risk and would blow their sirens. Pretty much it's all automated these days. There's a few exceptions. But yeah, you probably got a notification for a tornado warning because of the uh, uh, Osage County was has a warning. It's part of Osage County. I have an app on my phone that will give me warnings for three different counties. We live real close to Tulsa, Osage, and Washington counties, basically right on the three corners there. And so, I keep track of all three counties, and so sometimes I'll get a notification on my phone that Washington County has a tornado warning, and I'll look and it'll be up at Copan. It's like, okay, well, that doesn't really matter to us. Always trust Hartman, Eric Brown. Well, see, you gotta trust what he says. He's a minister. He's a pastor, so he's very trustworthy. Even though he did go to OU, and he is also a Cubs fan, so yeah, he's a man of great faith to to be not only an OU fan but a Cubs fan. No, I'm kidding. Eric and I went to school together in Nebraska, and he went off to OU in Norman, and now he's a Lutheran minister in Illinois. And he and his father and their families have had quite a bit of fun this year already. Had some tornadoes really close to where they live, south of Chicago. So it's good to see some more people coming in here. All right. So I'm just rambling now. I don't know if you guys are interested in this at all or not. Um, yeah, there is still rotation in this storm out in western Osage County. They continue the warning. It's not looking quite as dramatic. Um, it's very broad rotation. we'll keep an eye on it. I'm gonna pop back over here and see what's going on. Okay, now this is not looking as organized now either. I'm gonna drop this storm track. Okay. Yeah, this might be trying to reorganize here south, south part of the storm. Fairmont. Yeah, I'm not seeing a big signal. There's still a little bit of rotation signature here, east of Enid. Not seeing a very dramatic rotation or a debris signature. So I'm not sure if it's on the ground anymore. But we're getting some more rotation areas. We'll keep an eye. We'll keep an eye here. But yeah, this cell is not quite as organized. It doesn't have the shape that you would want. All right. I will be back in 1 minute. I have to move clothes from the washer to the dryer. I am highly domesticated. Back in a second. Ooh, okay, I'm back. Well, I lost quite a bit of viewers. Oh, that's crazy. Okay. Okay, yeah. Looking here at that. Jeez, gotta figure out why that happens. Looking here at that storm out by Enid, they have dropped the confirmation on the tornado. Um, Still have a tornado warning for the cell capable of producing a tornado, but as of right now, it is uh, just not looking quite as healthy. Anything that does happen looks like it may crank back up here to the southwest corner of the storm down by Douglas, Covington, and so on and so forth. So we'll keep an eye on that. Let's pop back up here to the storms coming into Osage County. Again, still some, excuse me, some circulation. Still under tornado warning. But you can see this line is starting to consolidate now. When we zoom out a little bit, that line is starting to fill in these what had been unique, discrete cells are starting to, to form a more linear feature. I'm going to take a quick look at what the Storm Prediction Center has been saying. Hmm. It's been yeah, it's still been quite a day of storms. They're still talking about the primary supercell tornado risk, primarily between Enid, Stillwater, Bartlesville, and Arkansas or Kansas City, I guess. And that's where the primary risk is from these cells. So we're certainly not out of the woods, and um, we're gonna keep an eye, keep watching as things progress. Um, I guess I'll just stay alive and see what happens. Um, if anybody wants me to take a look at any other specific area, any specific towns, um, have any questions, and I can bore you all to death with scientific details. It's one of my favorite things to do, so you won't offend me. Yeah, and let me know if you have questions or you want to look at any specific place, Iowa, Illinois. Well, let's take a quick look. I'm gonna pop up to. Oh, looks like Kansas City's been in some fun here. Let's pop up to Kansas City. My friends up here. I have friends who live in Parkville and North Kansas City. Now it looks like primarily this is now what I was saying a little bit earlier. This is where you can see the difference between a supercell tornado and a QLCS tornado from squall line. Right here. Okay, let's orient ourselves a little bit. The radar is down here, south and east of Kansas City. We're at north part of Oklahoma or Kansas City here. Here's Parkville. Here's the river. Here's Kansas City proper. Right here is where they're keeping an eye, and you can see that's where they have the tornado warning currently, and that's where you see this normalized rotation maximized. You got where this storm is bowing this way, and inflow ahead of the storm is coming in this way. You'll get these little spin ups or QLCS tornadoes. And this is similar again to the one that hit uh, Jenks, was that last week? Um, and the one that hit, I guess, Okmulgee, and the one that hit Barnstall on April 1st of 2024, and so on and so forth. So these QLCS tornadoes, they spin up very fast. They're not nearly as easy to detect on radar because they're not born out of a large rotating thunderstorm where the entire storm is rotating and you can really kind of tell. Um, so that's what makes these QLCS tornadoes so difficult to detect on radar. And 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 it makes it very tough. So yeah, you can see that's what's happening now here up in Kansas City area. Is you've got the line of storms now crashing through, but they're still strong enough instability and wind shear to create these pockets of rotation uh, as they roll on through. Okay, let's take a look at some other areas here. Southern Iowa. Take a look at the Des Moines radar. And this is again sort of a same story where you've got these gusting portions of storms with little bits of rotation where you get these very highly localized um, wind shear events and rotations that spin up into the storm. Okay, let's back down here for Barnstall. I'm sure there's probably a heck of a lightning show coming on out to the north and west. I haven't stepped out to take a look out of our place yet, but I'm sure it's beautiful. They're still putting the tornado warning on this storm. Another 30 minutes, and yeah, it's actually. Hang on, let's take a little close look here. Starting to look a little more organized, a little more concerning here by Scheidler. Um, you can see there's some spikes in the normalized rotation. This wind shear right here. Bears watching. Pardon me for all the noise here. Apologize for the dead air here. I sometimes watch that Ryan Hall gentleman and his big production. That's quite a that's quite a setup he's got, and it's pretty crazy. And he's got the that AI bot that tells him about new warnings and so on and so forth. That's pretty crazy. He's put together quite a setup there. Okay. Okay, rotation is starting to look a little better here. We're going to keep an eye on this. This I don't think will have any potential for Barnstall specifically, but the Huska, we'll see how it moves. Um, yeah, it's still tracking pretty much due east according to the Weather Service. It's starting to move a little faster. I think that's the cold front starting to slash in. So we're going to keep a real close eye on this and see if anything can develop. Obviously, this is ranch country up here, a lot of open country. That's not to say there's nothing there worth worrying about. Obviously, there's a lot there to worry about. But yeah, we're gonna keep an eye out, taking a quick look at what Travis Meyer's looking at. I'm not exactly sure. I think he may be looking at the Enid storm. Let's take a quick look. Okay, they've dropped the tornado warning on that storm. Thankfully, a little bit of a rotation area down there by Douglas. We'll keep an eye on that. And Wichita. Yeah, you can see the linear line of storms up here just past I-35 in Kansas. And it should start to interact, push in with these cells, and we'll keep an eye. Okay, let's come back on down here. Yeah. Starting to look a little more concerning. Uh, Gerald, are my people safe in Barnstall? So far, so good. J. Perk, finally Brian live on the air. I don't know who, I'm not sure who J. Perk is. Uh, well, I'm sure there's a lot of people here who are like, uh, finally, yeah. Sarah Albert just posted Osage County Sheriff reporting possible funnel Highway 412. Oh, oh, Josh Perkins. Okay. Good to see you, Josh. Very good. We're overrun with the Sooner fans, well, of course. That's what we would expect. And just so everybody is aware, the reason I needle everybody about being Sooner fans is I was born and raised in Nebraska, and so I am Cornhusker born and Cornhusker bred, and when I die, I'll be Cornhusker dead, and all of that. So everybody who remembers, who's old enough like us to remember that rivalry between Nebraska and Oklahoma, well, of course, the young people don't even realize that the teams used to be hated enemies. Okay. Yeah, this rotation signature here, clears close to 4 acres, starting to look a little concerning. So we're gonna zoom in here, keep an eye right here. We got a pretty good rotation, and we're gonna keep an eye to see if something pops down. Sarah Elber, you posted possible funnel on Highway 412. That's not up here by 4 acre though. 412 isn't that a little farther south? Hmm. Anyway, yeah, this rotation signature is certainly looking a little more robust. So we're gonna continue to keep an eye here. That's what old Trav Myers is doing right now on Channel 6. He's got a bigger budget and a bigger audience, though, that's for sure. Jacob Darnell drove through Nebraska today. I won't say I'm envious because I've done that. It can be a little boring, depending upon where you were. The real question is, did you stop for a runza? Because that's the best part of going through Nebraska, is stopping at runza. Yeah, Nebraska Drive can be a little tedious. It's a little bit flat sometimes. A lot of corn, a lot of cows. Gonna Let's zoom out a little bit and see what's developing out for us now. Yeah, this stuff off to the west, Burbank, Ponca City area, not looking quite as organized. This massive cell down here, um, between Perry and Enid, is the one that put down the massive tornado. Um, I'm anxious to see some of the footage of that tornado earlier out by Enid Vance Air Force Base. So as far as Barnstall is concerned, uh, it's everything in this area here, south of Highway 60, that would be of concern. And you see the storms. I'm gonna put the radar in motion now. We can see, just for reference, this little dot here, I've got permanently placed on my radar. It shows Barnstall. So when you zoom out and you lose some of the resolution of um, you can always tell where Barnstall is. You can see the storms are moving quite slowly to the east. So in terms of Barnstall, it would be these cells down here. So we'll see what happens between Pawnee, Fairfax, and that would see what that would determine what we're going to see. Okay. Oops, sorry about that. Let's stop that. Yeah, they're still keeping a warning on that, and rightfully so. This is wrapped up pretty good right here, and this little hook right here, this little notch, and shows quite well on the rotational normalized rotation. Now, just so you know, these lines here, that's called range folding, and that happens at certain ranges from the radar, and it's just sort of a mathematical mess through the way the radar behaves. I've heard that there's people who live stream for like 8 hours a day. I don't know how they do it. What do they talk about? I guess talk about anything and everything, huh? Let's let's keep looking here. Okay, now they just issued a new tornado warning. They're starting to turn a little more southeast. Now this area goes to just north. It goes through Pawhuska, Highway 60, west of Bartlesville, just to the north of Barnstall. Um, this is not a confirmed tornado at this time. Um, did anything happen in Iowa earlier? Hey, Matthew. Um, I don't know. I really haven't had a chance to look. Let me take a quick look. Storm reports. Yeah, it looks like there were some tornadoes. Harrison County, Iowa, Fremont County, Iowa. This is right on the border, the Missouri River. Um, and Story County, that is near Des Moines. Yeah. Okay, sirens are going off in Barnstall. This is not, as of this moment, not a confirmed tornado. Okay, this is where I guess the live stream will see whether it works or fails. Obviously, if you are concerned, go to your place of shelter. Absolutely. At this time, the rotation is is currently looking like it's going to pass north of Barnstall, but Barnstall is in the warning polygon. So please go ahead and start moving towards your place of shelter. I do not know. Uh, you do have time. The storms are still quite a ways off, so uh, I would presume, I don't know if anybody uh, is opening the the shelter at the school. I would presume so. But again, you do have time, and as things develop, we will keep an eye here. You can pass around my live stream if you want. And we'll keep on top of everything, and I'll stay here, stay with you as things develop. I'm just going to keep it here on this radar now. I may be popping in and out, looking at other bits of data. Again, no confirmed tornado at this time that we can tell. Uh, this is just a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado, and we can see a good amount of rotation here. Red going away from the radar, green moving towards the radar. That's your rotation right there. Southeast of Foraker, moving in towards Highway 99 and Highway 60 junction. I'll be staying live here as this moves through. Just going to take a quick look out west at this cell. Still no tornado warnings on it. Oh, I spoke too soon. They just issued a tornado warning. No confirmed tornado. And we'll keep an eye on that later. Let's pop back over here. Okay, just got a note from Sarah Elber that sirens are off now. Again, this is something, Barnstall's right at the edge of the warning box. Rotation is still quite a ways away. Yeah, the rotation's not looking quite as strong now. The southern portion of the storm here is gusting forward a little bit. I'm going to change one of the views here. Look at the base velocity. Yeah, these bright greens, that's really strong winds towards the the radar. And again, but this is still, you're also looking up quite a bit higher in the storm because you're so far from the radar. Yes, Amanda, we are safe right now. No immediate danger for Barnstall. Yes, the sirens have gone off. Again, it's Barnstall's right at the edge of this polygon. Um, the way the National Weather Service draws their polygons, they look at trends in the movement and the speed and where they think it might start moving or move what direction. You can see the way they drew this polygon. They expect it to go east or southeast, east, southeast. So they've got basically the top of the warning box is east and west. The bottom of it is sort of northwest to southeast. So they're expecting this to slowly start trending a little more east southeast in movement. That said, that rotation is not looking nearly as robust as it was just a few minutes ago. Um, so yes, at this moment, um, Barnstall is safe. It's currently 9:20 p.m., 9:19 p.m. I know everybody's really on edge. and I cannot blame you at all. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit and take a look at the movement of this storm as it's moving in a little bit. You can see where it's starting to wrap up a little bit and it's starting to gust. Yeah, this right here, this portion of the southern flank of the storm, that's from Burbank and slides up around to the east and then the northeast. That's what's looking like it's really want to gust out a little bit to have some strong straight line winds. To those of you who are not in the Barnstall, Oklahoma area, this stream may probably doesn't apply to you. I'm doing this primarily as a service for the folks in Barnstall, which is where I work and close to where I live. So it may not be of much interest to you unless you were just a glutton for nerd punishment or geeky information. Yeah, I'm gonna move this back here. And other times I may be live streaming for a general audience and looking from storm to storm, whether it's in Iowa or Missouri, Mississippi. I've got friends and family all over the place, and I like to try to keep track of the weather where they are. Zoom out, look at west a little bit. Yeah, what did I do? There we go. If in case anybody was wondering, uh, the red boxes uh, on the radar are severe thunderstorm warnings, and the purple or pink boxes are tornado warnings. Sometimes I will turn off the thunderstorm warnings just to make it less cluttered. Uh, let's take a look here at what's going on. Yeah, and again, there's some quite a bit of rotation here in this cell out south and east of Enid, coming up on I-35 there at Perry. There's a monster cell. I'm sure that's putting down some dramatic hail. I would not want to be in that right now. Oh my goodness, 35 people watching. Wow, that's crazy. Watch out, Joe Rogan. I'm coming for you. Um, yeah, let's pop back up to the Tulsa radar. Yeah. This is not looking nearly as bad. Um, rotation not dramatic. Not nearly as bad. It's certainly gusting out a little bit. Storm is not really organized. Let me take a look at the southern end here, or the from the north side. Yeah, from the Wichita radar. Yeah, nothing overly dramatic here. Um, Obviously, it's concerning from a wind standpoint. Uh, at 9:15, National Weather Service uh, severe thunderstorm warning until 10. 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts and up to half dollar size hail, which will certainly ruin your evening. Let's hope that doesn't happen. Let's again, we're gonna keep our eye here on this tornado warning for Osage County. Again, not looking overly organized, but again, the storm may be cycling. We'll see what can happen, and obviously we'll keep an eye on how it looks out to the west here. This big storm over Ponca City. It's laying down a lot of rain and hail, I am sure. This is the first time I've ever streamed, so I you can probably tell. I'll fiddle with the settings. And is there anything that's not too clear or needs to be bigger, smaller? I know you don't want the picture of me any bigger. Nobody wants to look at my ugly mug. So, but yeah, I'll find ways to make it a little bit better, easier to see, and so on and so forth, and go from there. If anybody has any ideas or questions or tips or anything, please let me know. I'm gonna stick with these storms as they come in. Now, as these storms transition from the supercells that they were up over north central Oklahoma and the area of Blackwell, Brahman up here north of Tonkawa, close to the border, they're transitioning now into more linear. This is where we need to start being a little bit more concerned about what I was speaking about earlier, which is the QLCS tornadoes, so the quasi-linear convective systems. Those are the smaller, harder to detect, generally weaker tornadoes that happen on the front side of squall lines. Again, examples of that would be what happened in Jenks, was it last week? Uh, where it just spun up really quick, did some damage, and then boom, was gone. And what happened in Barnstall on April 1st, 2024, that very weak, very small tornado, uh, well, as much as tornadoes can be weak and small, that hit town that April Fool's night. This is where we'll want to start looking and being careful about keeping an eye for those. And it's areas like this little notch here where you want to start keeping an eye. Um, oh, we're getting into some range folding here. Oh, that's because I'm on the Wichita radar. No wonder. Let's look at the Tulsa radar. That's better. I was wondering why everything looked wonky. If anybody has questions, please do not hesitate to ask. I'd be happy to answer them if I can, or find out the answer if I can. Wow. Yeah, I'm going back and looking at some of the footage that Channel 6 has of the tornado out by Brahman, Oklahoma, which is Brahman, yeah, north of Tonkawa, right there on I-35, really close to the Oklahoma-Kansas border, north of Blackwell. Channel 6 has a some incredible video of the tornado that went through there. Kristen Boltsey says wind is starting to pick up in Barnstall. Yeah, I would imagine it is. Um, Kimberly Kramer, I am located near Skytook, Oklahoma, which is just north of Tulsa, a ways, and primarily uh, my focus on this live stream is on the small town of Barnstall, Oklahoma, where I have worked for the last 20 plus years, and which was struck by a F4 tornado a couple of years ago. So, huh. You're doing great on the live stream. Well, thank you. For somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, I guess I'm doing all right. I've been wanting to try this, and I just got it kind of, well, I'll give it a try tonight. Okay, let's take a look here. The latest. Yeah, again, storm's not looking quite as organized. Still very strong. I want to keep an eye here on this leading edge for little bits of rotation. Nothing really dramatic. There's some spots of rotation here, as you can see, but nothing overly concerning at this point. Yeah, Weather Service is saying moving east at about 50 miles an hour now. Okay, they just dropped a tornado warning. Not not too surprising. There was not a tremendous amount of rotation seen. There was earlier, obviously, when it was up a little closer to Scheidler. But now they've dropped that tornado warning. So we're gonna keep an eye on this, see if they come back. Uh, Starting to see stuff creep in a little bit closer to Barnstall. The worst, obviously, is north of town. They're getting hammered up there in northern Osage once again. Can we get some BWG merch? Um, I don't know. Maybe we'll see. My oldest daughter is quite the artist, so I'm sure she could come up with something. And yeah, well, who knows? We'll see. Maybe we'll start something up. Um, yeah, let me take a look, see how much rain they've gotten so far up in northern Osage County. Okay, Blackwell has gotten over an inch today. Newkirk has gotten an inch and a quarter. So far, 4 acres only gotten 1600ths, but yeah, they're not getting a bunch. These storms as they move through are dumping quite a bit, so we can expect Bird Creek. Let's go, Brian. Big Dave and the family are watching you. Oh, okay. Big Dave Moles there. Carson Scott. Okay, well, boy, now the pressure's on. I know some of the audience. That's crazy. Okay, okay. Just saw that the Weather Service has trimmed up the severe thunderstorm warning a little bit. They trimmed off the. If you take a look here, they trimmed off the southern edge. This storm is moving. The stuff to the south, you can see here, they dropped the tornado warning. Then they trimmed the southern small sliver portion of the severe thunderstorm warning. So it's north of Barnstall now, and this stuff again moving pretty much due east according to the Weather Service. Yeah, let's see what their latest date just says. Severe thunderstorms were located along extending from Elgin to 5 miles northwest of Pawhuska to Burbank, moving east at 30 miles an hour. 70 mile per hour wind gusts and nickel size hail. Brian Hartman for president. Oh no, no, no. No, I don't think I want that job. Thank you very much. Yeah, no, I'll pass. That's flattering, but no. Um, yeah. Moving east at 30 miles an hour, 70 mile an hour wind gusts, nickel size hail. Uh, yeah, that's certainly not out of the question that we could see a tornado spin up out of this. But again, it's not looking nearly as organized. Some pockets of rotation here and there, uh, mainly right now along Highway 99 north of Pawhuska and getting ready to move um, down Highway 60 towards Bartlesville. Looking at what could be coming for Barnstall, um, yeah, that'd be these cells down here, which at current movement are still about an hour away, and nothing overly concerning here. These are just thunder showers. They do have severe thunderstorm warnings on them. And again, like I said, the red boxes are severe thunderstorm warnings. Purple or pink are the tornado warnings. Um, and let's pop it out to Enid and take a look at that storm. Now, this is the storm, like I said, that put down a really apparently very dramatic tornado um, near Enid uh, earlier, and it's a monster. It currently has a severe or a tornado warning, and yeah, just a broad rotation there. It's certainly a healthy supercell, and it bears watching as it cycles. This is on the tail end of the line, and so it has it has more potential to be a tornado producer because of uh, the lack of interference from other cells. The storms themselves are fed off of the stream of warm, moist air from the south, and and off, you know, when you get storms that interact with or move up behind another cell, they can interfere with the atmosphere and through all of it, and really cause trouble with the mechanics of the storm and how it operates. This storm on the end, they call it tail end Charlie. they have the higher chances of being tornadic. That said, that's why earlier people were like, "Are we worried about that cell out by Enid coming this way?" And yes, a cell down on this end would have a better chance of moving in on the Barnstall area. We'll have to see how things develop. Um, you can see, let me zoom out here just a bit. You can see off to the northwest here, this line right here, draping across southwest Kansas. Um, here's Wichita. Here's Enid. Um, I believe this is probably your cold front, the main cold front uh, coming in. And you can see it moving in. Zooming it back, you can see how the storms have moved. Let me turn off the warnings here. Yeah, you can see that cold front really slamming in now. This area right here is what was called the triple point today, where you had the dry line, the low pressure, all coming in together. And that's why these storms that kicked up here were so robust. All right, let's zoom back to the homestead. Okay, let's see what we've got. Barnstall's probably getting a pretty neat light show off to the north. Uh, some good sized winds moving in, I'm sure. Now Barnstall's probably going to get clipped by some strong winds. I'm going to take a quick look at some other data out of like 4 acre here. Okay, 4 acre had a pink peak wind gust at 55 miles an hour just about 20 minutes ago. Yeah, so they had quite a wind when that came through. And looking at Winona, that is what we would want most to pay attention to, the weather station at Winona, because that is a good indication of what would be coming in on Barnstall. Yeah, nothing obviously has moved in through Winona yet, but obviously the winds out of the south, very, very gusty. Lightning and wind here to the north. Oh yeah, I'm sure it's putting on quite a show. It's, it's beautiful. Yep, it can be beautiful. Let's put it that way. I'm always, I've always been the one who loves to watch storms, but and being through what Barnstall has been through, obviously, has a very different aspect to it. Sorry, I was just watching some video of some other storms from earlier today, I think. Pretty crazy. Brian, can you explain the four screens we're looking at? Ah, yes, yes, yes. Okay. Now, when you're watching let's say channel 6, they'll show one screen at a time usually. This is what everybody is used to seeing. Um, this is called the base reflectivity, and this is what people think of when they think of weather radar. And this shows the intensity of the precipitation. So we're used to saying light green, maybe yellow, that'd be a light rain. Uh, Orange, yellows into reds. We know that's heavy precipitation, heavy rain. And one moment, please. Folks, we have a special visitor here to say hi.
Hello.
Oh, that's my youngest daughter. She's wanted to say hi. She's been waiting for a long time for me to start streaming. So anyway, back to what I was explaining.
Oh my God. Are you the news now?
I'm not the news. Anyway, yes, what we're looking at, sorry about that. Um, this is the base reflectivity of the storm, so that shows the intensity of the precipitation. And you can deduce, how heavy the rain is, or sometimes the darker purples, like down here, will be indicative of like heavy hail. Now, on channel 6, you'll see them, or any TV station, you'll see them cycle between this, and they'll say, "Well, show me velocity," and that's where they'll switch to a different screen of the same image, and that shows the velocity, which means the movement of particles towards and away from the radar, and that's where the Doppler radar gets its name, where it's measuring the Doppler shift off of the particles being reflected by the radar wave. So, like I said earlier, the radar waves go out from the radar and they hit the rain or hail or trees or 2x4s or whatever, uh, and then they bounce back towards the radar. But with the Doppler radar, it can detect the Doppler shift of whether the storm or whether the particle is moving towards or away from the radar. And that is how you can tell where rotation is, because you'll have areas of particles moving away from the radar very close to our uh, 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 particles moving towards the radar. So what the 4 panels are that I was looking at and showing, that's typically how I look at it. It shows the 4 different screens all at once instead of one at a time. So when I'm looking at this, um, as an example, let me come up here to Wichita, and I'm gonna zoom back. I'm gonna play back to earlier this evening. This is when this storm. This is at, let's see, this is at 7:30 p.m. And so this shows the same part of the storm in 4 different views, basically. So you've got the reflectivity, so you can see the shape of the storm. And this is where I'm going to go ahead and turn off the warnings here. This is where you can look at the shape of the storm from the reflectivity, and this is where you'll see what people know to call the hook echo. And this shows the shape where the precipitation is heaviest, and you'll see where the hook is in this case. Down below in the lower left, I have what is called storm relative velocity, and I'm going to, there we go. And this shows the velocities towards and away from the radar, um, and it subtracted out the motion of the storm itself. So this is what you can look at to see, okay, is there rotation? Really tight rotation. In a messy storm mode, down here in the lower right, I have what's called normalized rotation, which is basically uh, a mathematical equation of showing where the rotation is the strongest. And then this one in the upper right is what's called correlation coefficient. And that it's a measurement taken of the particles, how symmetrical they are. A symmetrical particle example would be a raindrop, roughly circular. A non symmetrical particle example would be like a 2x4 or a car. Um, and so when the radar can detect non uh, symmetrical particles, like here, let's see. Let me see here if I can find an example. Well, this is just a little too late. Let's go back here. Okay, this is a very long-winded example. Describe the power of these storms in terms of 1990s drum and bugle corps. Well, these storms are 1986 Madison Scouts horn line. Not quite 1980 Spirit of Atlanta. Anyway, that's an inside joke that only a few people will get. Okay, the storm that hit Enid. Let's see here. Here it is. This put down a confirmed tornado, and you can take a look and you can see that's where they issued the tornado warning. And you can see the hook echo. Very, very noticeable hook echo. You see the rotation couplet. So again, the radar is up here to the north. Green is towards the radar. Red is away from the radar. So right next to each other, boom, you got strong motion towards, strong motion away. So that, that's where your rotation is, your rotation signature. It's confirmed by the normalized rotation, that equation. And then watch, I'm going to place a marker here. This little red dot right in the middle of that hook, right in the middle of that couplet, right here, and watch what happens right here. That is debris being lofted into the air by the tornado, where it coincides. Oh, sorry about that. Where that coincides, I'm going to place that marker right here. That marker coincides with the velocity couplet, normalized rotation maxima, correlation coefficient drop, and then that hook. That's where you got to confirm tornado. Now, obviously, in this case, uh, they had spotters on the ground, chasers, and probably helicopters, and every news station in Oklahoma was on it. But this is how they use radar confirmation of tornadoes. As an example, for the May 6th tornado, um, there were not many chasers on that end. It was well after dark. You'll remember they used radar to confirm the tornado. It was a radar confirmed tornado, and they did that because they saw this blotch, this drop in correlation coefficient, which meant that there was debris being lofted into the air by that tornado. That was when it was down close to Hominy, just east of Hominy. So anyway, that's what these four different windows are, is looking at the storm in four different ways at the same time. And again, like the TV station, if they were to try this, people would go nuts and be like, "What are we looking at here?" So that's why they basically do it one at a time. I just do this because I want to be able to see, okay, does this rotation area match up with this certain area of the storm that looks bad, or is it confirmed tornado from correlation coefficient drop, and so on and so forth. Okay, let's showing no tornado warnings at the current time. Did you study meteorology in college? A little bit, yes. I did quite a bit of storm chasing. Uh, so this is late 90s. So I started college around the time of Twister, 1996. I started in 95. Um, and I intended and fully intended to go to graduate school in meteorology. I did quite a bit of storm chasing, like I said, and did some research. Ended up moving to Alaska, and I did work in atmospheric sciences. Took some study in meteorology and atmospheric sciences as well. Never did get on a degree track though, and then life moved on. So I'm basically just a, well, largely self-taught geek, but I know enough to get in trouble. Now I do not storm chase anymore. Um, First of all, it's a lot more expensive to get gas these days. I chased in the late 90s when gas was like, I remember paying, 88 cents a gallon in the late 90s, $1.10 a gallon. That that was nice. And of course I didn't have a family or a home or responsibilities. So, yeah, no. Um, got to work in the morning, would love to go to bed if it is safe. I think it's safe. I would go to bed now if I could. Obviously my brain won't let me. Let me take a quick look here. Yeah. Yeah, severe thunderstorm located over Burbank, moving east at 50. This is what it will eventually move in on Barnstall are these cells on the south edge, Fairfax, Burbank, this area here, maybe Pawnee. Um, yeah, it's starting to move a little more northeasterly. Um, I don't see any real problem going to bed. Um, yeah, I have physical therapy very early in the morning tomorrow, so it's gonna be a fun time. Um, yeah, I honestly don't see a tremendous problem going to to bed. Um, I see that Weather Service or Storm Prediction Center has mm, changed up the watch. Oh, okay, they've issued a severe thunderstorm watch for northeastern Oklahoma. Um, yeah, and this is basically what the Weather Service had expected to happen was that as these storms became more linear and less discrete, meaning not off all by themselves, the threat for tornadoes would go down, and then it would transition into more of a severe wind, hail type threat. Uh, so I would expect them to probably drop this tornado watch before too much longer. Um, the watch that impacts um, or affects Barnstall and central Oklahoma is only good for about another hour or so in any case. And I don't really foresee them uh, extending it farther east. Again, they've just issued a severe thunderstorm watch to the east of us, and so that speaks that they're pretty confident that things are transitioning more into a wind and hail type of hazard. So yeah, I don't think there's any real fear of being caught in something surprising. Obviously, the risk does exist. Oh, excuse me. Again, I need to figure out what's going on with this mouse. Sorry about that. Um, and the risk for tornadoes is there. It's not zero, but yeah, I don't see any problem with going to bed if you want to. I'm gonna hang in here until some of these storms do roll through. Um, so if you want to stick around, by all means. And again, if you have questions, I recognize some of these names, others I don't. But new severe thunderstorm warning. All right. I'm going to just so you know what I'm looking at. I'm going to keep an eye here on this portion of the storm, right just east of Fairfax, Ralston area. Uh, if anything were to happen, I'm going to remove this line here. If anything were to happen, this would be the area where it would happen. Now, that said, it doesn't look overly organized at this time. But we'll be keeping an eye. I'm going to switch this. No, we'll keep it base velocity. What about the storms? Oh, hey Brian, there is weather in your area. Look out. Thank you, Jim. I I wasn't sure. Um, Carson Scott says, what about the storm east of Perry? So we should be concerned about it. I don't think so. Um, it is moving towards this area, but I think it's a little farther south than than anything that would really be concerning. And even then, the worst part of any part of that storm would be on the south side of it. So Stillwater and Tulsa have more to worry about from that than we do in Barnstall. Only thing that has me really concerned at the moment is this right here, this area right here. I want to see again. It's not terribly organized. Let me see how it's moving. Yeah, it maybe has a shot. Again, like I said, the tornado um, risk is not zero, but it is certainly low right now. I'll be keeping an eye. Let's see. Yeah, in terms of timing, we're looking at about the next 25 to 30 minutes before it hits Barnstall proper. About another 20 to 20 minutes until it comes into Winona. Maybe 15, 20 minutes. Okay, the wind has completely stopped here. Yep, I'm staying tuned, not ready for another May 6th. I don't think we need to worry too much about a May 6th right now, but certainly bears watching. Oh, jeez, man, sorry about that. Give everybody whiplash. Okay, just FYI, it looks like uh, YouTube stream is about like 15 seconds behind when I say it, so that adds about 15 seconds. I was curious about how much of a delay there was. It's interesting. Yeah, just I'm just not seeing anything really dramatic here moving in to the southern half of Osage. These cells out by Ralston, Fairfax, coming in on Winona. Pawhuska's getting hit pretty good with some rain right now. Um, I don't see tremendous amounts uh, to be worried about. Please continue. Oh, well, that's who that is. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Too many inside jokes. Um, yeah, I'm not seeing a tremendous amount to be worried about here. No real rotation to speak of. Just strong winds. Let's see. What they say about this storm here. 60-mile-an-hour wind gust. We'll probably see some gusty winds come through Highway 99 area here, Hominy to Winona to Pawhuska, and then in on Barnstall after that. I'm gonna go ahead and remove the storm track here. Still, there's no tornado warnings, active tornado warnings anywhere. Um, these are all severe thunderstorm warnings as they push off to the east and southeast. Going to go ahead and take a look. Going to look a little bit of a wider view here um, out of the Tulsa radar. Again, Tulsa here, Sky took Barnstall, Bartlesville up here. So take a quick look and just see how things are moving. Certainly not looking like supercells anymore. These are much more in the realm of very strong thunderstorms, severe thunderstorms, uh, wind threat, some hail threat perhaps, but nothing overly dramatic. I don't think. I don't want to sugarcoat it and put people into a false sense of security, but I certainly don't want to scare anybody either. Um, cause unnecessary, panic. Okay, well this is something to look at here. Another thing that can show uh, different aspects of severe hazards on the radar here is I've switched this panel here, the upper right panel, to the base velocity measurement, and that's strictly measuring the the the, the, the velocity of the particles in the storm. So I want you to and remember now, cool colors are movement towards the radar. Uh, keep an eye here on this portion. Oh, sorry. Keep an eye here on this portion north of Pawhuska as I move forward here. You'll see it start to get brighter green. What this is this is the storm becoming a lot more of a straight line wind risk, where you're getting these very strong straight line winds gusting out of the storm. And so this is what's going to start causing some hazard here coming down into Barnstall from the northwest as it surges out. So that you can expect probably in the next 10 to 15 minutes there in Barnstall. You can probably expect some very strong winds, probably some small hail. Yeah, there's definitely some hail showing up here, and some of these really dark, strong reflectivity returns. Woo. I'm going to I'm going to share this. Let me see here. Um, Okay, just want to share this while we're waiting. This is footage of the tornado taken out at Enid this afternoon or this evening. This is at the, I think it's called Meadow Lake um, Golf Course by Enid. So this is the tornado that came through Vance Air Force Base, Enid area earlier this evening. A friend of mine on Facebook found this from, I guess, somebody he knows. And wow, what a monster that is. Whew, how about that? Whew. All right, that's quite a storm. Okay, let's keep an eye here on Barnstall again. Not seeing anything really worth worrying about. This right here, this splotch, that's a range folding uh, data. Uh, that's sort of a data artifact. So don't be overly concerned about these bright colors right now. What that looks like is, yeah, there's some pretty strong winds packing in on there. So yeah, let's if you're in Barnstall, probably best to really hunker down, get away from windows, so on and so forth. I'm not sure how's the video quality on the stream. Is it good? Is it not great? Do I need to increase the sampling rate and so on and so forth? I honestly don't know. I'm just sitting here blabbing, and you all could just be looking at a blotches of color. I don't know. Wow, I've been streaming for 2.5 hours. That's crazy. Yeah, Barnstall gonna get some really strong winds here in a minute. Okay. Yeah. So no tornado risk at the moment for Barnstall. I'm going to keep repeating this because I know people are concerned, rightfully so. Yvonne says wind is kicking up pretty hard right now. I believe it. Yeah, it's gonna be a fair gust. I'm gonna hop on over here and take a look at the weather station in Winona, seeing what they're showing. Yeah, it's switched around to the northwest, or the north actually, in Winona. Looks like some. Want to show you something on radar here. I want you to keep an eye here on the leading edge, right ahead of the heavy precip here from basically east of Pawhuska down past Winona. As I move it forward, you can see this gray area here start pushing out in front of it. That's winds being pushed out of the front of the storm, or gust front, or straight line winds, and that's where you get those really damaging wind gusts. Super strong wind, says Jen Hogue. Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, hopefully not too bad, not anything dramatic. Keep the information coming. Still no tornado risk. Severe thunderstorm warning is still in effect, which we would expect. Zooming out a little bit, those cells. Yeah, I don't see a tremendous amount to be worried about here. I'm gonna take a quick look at some of the high resolution computer models, see how they are expecting things to develop overnight. You could probably expect the precipitation to start in Barnstall at any moment now. Oh, pardon me. Oh my goodness. Now while we're waiting, I'm gonna show this. This is sent in by a viewer to Channel 6. This was taken from Vance Air Force Base near Enid of that tornado. Whew, what a storm that is. Unbelievable. Um, I haven't heard any news about damage or, you know, casualties or anything. I hope none. But boy, what a storm that was. It looks like quite a tornado. I'm sure there were quite a few storm chasers on it. This was the area north central Oklahoma and south central Kansas was the place to be for chasers today. Ooh, Look at that. Crazy. Mm, hmm. Wow. You can probably get a GPS and dash cam on Clown's truck and check in with him every now and then. Well, I don't know about that. I don't know that I would trust his language on YouTube. No, I'm kidding. How are things in Barnstall? Probably good wind out of the north, I'm sure. Oh boy, that video there. That is crazy. Let's check in at Barnstall. Oh, oh, oh. Excuse me. It's too late. Yeah. I think we can expect quite a bit of thunder and lightning tonight for the next couple of hours. Um, but I think that the tornado risk is dropping off rather dramatically. No rain yet, but getting the wind gusts. That makes sense. Yeah, that storm is really gusting out. Yeah, it'll be a rough rumble kind of night because this whole line is gonna move over the area. It's not it's not really surging south yet, but I want you to take a look at what's happening up there in southern Kansas. This secondary line from Iola, Fredonia, Howard, Winfield, that's the cold front. In fact, let me put something up here. So this is the cold front itself. This is stuff that has fired off the drawing line, and in front you can see, okay, yeah, you can see up here you've got the strong north winds behind the cold front. And so you can expect that those storms that are firing along the cold front itself will come through as well. But again, right now the, the 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 tornado risk is going down pretty dramatically. Again, it's not zero, but it's certainly not as dramatic as was a couple hours ago. And this again is not overly unexpected. This is kind of how the Weather Service had expected today to play out. They had expected that the the biggest risk for tornadoes was going to be north central uh, Oklahoma and uh, south central Kansas, and that as things translated farther east in the evening, uh, the threat would transition more to wind and hail. I'm going to take just a quick little break. Give me just a few minutes. I will be back and keep an eye a little bit more. One moment. Okay, I am back. Sorry about that. Had to take care of a few things. Okay. Yvonne had asked, is it expected to move through pretty quick or slow down like it did earlier? Honestly, I think it's going to be pretty slow to move through. Um, they're not moving east very quickly or southeast. Um, and you can see they're kind of training over the same area. The line itself is moving, but not exactly quickly. And so I think you can expect several rounds, but at the same time, uh, I don't think it's going to be a dramatic uh, storm situation. What did I do? Sorry about that. There is a tornado warning, but it's up in Missouri at the moment, and it's not confirmed at the moment. Now let's go back down here. A couple of cells did fire off the dry line in southern Oklahoma here. And this was what what was being said earlier, was uh, the risk down in Oklahoma was conditional, meaning it was uncertain whether the storms would fire off the dry line. If they did fire at the right time in the right place, they could be bad. But in the case of today, it doesn't look like they fired off the southern end. They did fire off the north side, which was expected, um, up closer to the surface low pressure. I'm not going to be streaming for too much longer. It is going to be a rumbly night tonight. Let's come back to Tulsa. Okay, they've dropped the severe thunderstorm warnings for the northern parts of Osage County. Just heavy storms right now. Little bit of something to look at there. Pawnee, again, I think it's primarily gust. Yeah, I don't think that's really rotation. I mean, it's showing rotation, but I think it's mainly gusting out. Bird Creek is going to be up, that's for sure. Glenn says, what are the things that you don't catch on radar that would cause something to spin up? Well, what those QLCS tornadoes that do spin up, primarily the risk of they can develop and dissipate sometimes within a minute or two. And so you'll sometimes see that the Weather Service will, issue these huge blanket warnings for long stretches um, along the front of those uh, uh, gust fronts or squall lines, excuse me, and because they develop so quickly, and the radar itself scans every, sometimes 2 minutes, sometimes 4 or 6 minutes is every time they throw out a scan. And so sometimes the tornadoes can develop and then dissipate within that period of time. And it's very tough to to see, and the resolution of radar is such that it the rotation of those kinds of tornadoes are very localized, whereas with a supercell, uh, there you have what's called a mesocyclone, which is a larger parent rotation within the storm itself, and that makes it easier to see excuse me to see the rotation within the storm compared to the rotation of the tornado itself. So the presence of a mesocyclone in a uh, in a supercell thunderstorm makes it easier to detect that rotation, whereas the QLCS tornado is sort of it's smaller, more localized, tougher to resolve. So that's what makes it a little more difficult to detect on radar. Hope to on this channel, this YouTube channel. I started last year to craft some educational videos about some of the basics of atmospheric science and meteorology and how it works and why we talk about certain things and look at certain things. And so I hope to get back to that and develop more of those. And so we'll see how things progress and I hope to be able to expand this a little bit more and obviously I don't know, I'll have to talk to the folks in Barnstall, see what they have thought of this. It is obviously slowing down, fewer and fewer people watching. Um, yeah, I'm just not seeing a tremendous amount to make anybody nervous. I might be heading to hay myself here pretty soon. Like I said, I have to be up and on the road to physical therapy quite early tomorrow compared to how I normally would. But so it's going to be a short night, and it's going to be a very tiring weekend weather-wise. We're looking at some pretty dramatic storm setups over the next 4 days, 5 days, perhaps even more. Um, Tomorrow it's going to be more along the lines of northeast Texas, southeast Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana. Um, Saturday, there's a big bullseye over again, eastern Oklahoma, southern Kansas. Sunday, the Central Plains again, Oklahoma, Kansas. Monday is looking quite bad and that's going to be more off to the east in the middle Mississippi Valley, Missouri, Illinois, Tennessee, Arkansas, unfortunately. It's going to be a very long weekend, and Saturday is looking pretty bad. Sunday and Monday are looking dramatic. Those are a couple of the days where where it happens, um, it could be quite bad. And so I'll be obviously posting a little bit on Facebook about where it could be bad. I'll probably we'll have to see if I go live again. This has been a lot of fun. Um, and we'll talk to the people um, in Barnstall, see how they liked this. Like I said, this is primarily has been a test for my role with the Barnstall Emergency Management team. Um, those of you who are you know following along from well, let's see, Illinois. We got some people from Nebraska who've been on here, um, but mostly it's been folks from around northeast Oklahoma and out of the Barnstall area, and so I serve them in my role, uh, doing emergency management, keeping track of the storms, and so on and so forth. So I probably, for the most part, will be doing live streams for them as storms become more imminent. Today, I came on mainly as a test, like I said, to see how this all works, see how people were able to get in, view it, interact with it, so on and so forth, see what they think, and also to just figure out how to do it. Um, in the future, I might the the live streams will not be nearly as long, and they'll probably be more reserved to at least the Barnstall live streams will be more reserved for, hey, this threat is coming in on Osage County right now, not hey, in 3 hours. It'll be coming in on Osage County or coming in on the Barnstall area. It'll be a lot more targeted and short term, just to pass along information, localized information. I may do some streaming of the wider context of outbreaks and so on and so forth. We'll have to see. Some of the news coming out of Enid uh, does not look good. Can 100% confirm the houses have been swept clean off of slabs near Enid, trees debarked, ground scouring, damage likely F4. Hmm. Yeah, that just looking at that video, I can believe it. Yeah, well, it'd be shocking to see what comes out tomorrow morning. It's certainly crazy. Very, very, very strong tornado there in Enid. I don't know how. I haven't heard much news beyond just what's sort of trickling out on social media. We'll see tomorrow. Okay, what do we got here? Tornado warning down near Stillwater, you know, west of Stillwater. Yeah, this won't have any impact at Barnstall. It's on the southern end. That should remain well south of Barnstall. Let's see if we can get a better view of that. Yeah, pretty good rotation there. Areas north of Stillwater. Yeah, that really bears watching. We'll have to see what comes of that. Thank you for those kind words there, Glenn. Let's take a look here. Yeah, we can expect more rain to come into Barnstall here pretty soon as this stuff moves off to the east. Yeah, I think we're pretty much out of the woods for now. Um, I don't see a tremendous risk. Folks down Tulsa area, um, certainly a little bit of a different story right now. Um, Eventually, these storms will roll in. Uh, their atmosphere hasn't been disturbed. Oh, yeah, our winds just switched out of the north here. You can see this line right here of this light green, and then also you can see the here's something interesting from the Doppler radar. If you follow this, trace this line where the colors switch from green over to reds here, from Nowata down to Talala, Vera, and then from Skiatook over to Cleveland. That's the wind shift line. That's the gust front of the winds that were pushed out of these storms to the north. And so you can watch, see how as it travels south. That gust front just came through here at our location, which is this spot here, just north of Skiatook, and our winds are now out of the north. Had been out of the south, of course, all day. When you bust out a line of big weather guy barometers, put me down for two. Uh, we'll see. We'll see what my very talented artist daughter can come up with and put it on a hat or a shirt. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see if we can wrap this up a little bit. Of course, every time I say, oh, I'm not going to watch much anymore, I think we're about done. My eye catches something like, oh, look at that. That's the big risk of being a hopeless weather geek. There's always something new to look at. I can't believe there's still 17 people watching me. My brother is a paramedic in Stillwater. Do you think he'll be okay? I think so. Yeah, this rotation, I don't think there's anything on the ground. It's pretty broad rotation at the moment, and it looks like the rotation itself is going to still stay a little north of town. they're going to get socked with quite a bit of wind, I'm sure. Um, but yeah, I don't see any imminent threat. It doesn't look like there's any confirmation that's on the ground. Uh, let's put a marker here and keep an eye. Yeah, it's a pretty broad rotation. It's not looking like much of anything uh, to write home about. I don't see a lot to be worried about out of this. It's pretty broad rotation. Oof, I gotta figure this out. Excuse me. Allergies. Awful. Itchy nose. All right, let's wrap it up. It's 11 o'clock. I'm getting tired now. Okay, just to finish things up. Um, no tornado warnings in the Barnstall area. No even no severe thunderstorm warnings in the Barnstall area anymore. We can expect this line to roll on through uh, for the next few hours, and maybe another line here develop behind it. Though at this time, it doesn't look like that line is really developing much. Yeah, there's a few cells. Um, here, one panel. Yeah, maybe that line is starting to develop a little bit behind there. Oh no, yeah, it's developing, but it's not doing a whole lot. They're flaring and dying off. Yeah, right in here. You can see. Yeah, I think this main line here, uh, as it rolls through, will be it. Now it's going to take a while for it to roll through. You can see it's not progressing south very quickly. It's mainly east and south a little. So it's going to be these storms are going to be training or running over the same area over and over and over again. So that it's good for um, replenishing water supply down here. But I mean, as dry as we are here, we're not nearly as dry as some other places. There's some other places that are absolutely desperate for rain, and they really do need it a lot worse than we do. So anyway, um, I thank you all for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed it. Uh, do consider if you want to subscribe to my channel. That way, you'll be notified, I guess, when I do go live or when I eventually get off my rear end and start making those educational videos again. And again, let me know if you have any questions, any Any comments, any improvements, anything you'd like to see? Um, and I guess we'll catch you later. Talk to you later. Bye.